Internet baby.
When did you realize your friends were actually fake friends? Back in my first year of college, I used to have a group of friends, like 7 dudes with me included. We always hang out together, and we're used to have this group chat, where we discuss about anything from class subjects to random things. After a year, I noticed that one of the guys, let's just call him Randy, keeps getting excluded, not invited and formed to group hangout, while they're talking smack behind his back. And the unofficial leader of the group actually made a whole new group chat, inviting everyone, myself included, except Randy without his knowledge. I know what it feels to be left out. I experienced that in middle school, and it's really awful. I stopped hanging out with him, and I starts hanging out with Randy. He's quite eccentric, but a very good person at heart. We've been friends for more than 6 years, and he's still got my back. A lot of so-called friends aren't real friends. They're more like acquaintances. People you know and are civil with. There's at least one that is fake though. He or she has you in their life solely to benefit from. It can be financially, it can be emotionally. It can just be because he or she thrives on your failures. Some people keep you around as something to gawk at. Harsh but true. This is the worst feeling. When I was in my mid-20s, I worked a job where 4 of us had the same position. The 4 of us did everything together. Then I made a mistake, and I apologized for it. But one of them just could not seem to forgive me, and aggressively isolated me from the group. I remember how shitty it was to discover that they had a whole group chat that I wasn't included in, and had done all these social things without me. I've always been lucky to have a lot of friends, and I figured out after a while that these people weren't going to be it for me. So I stepped away from those friendships and invested in my actual friendships. It still makes me mad looking back, though. When my phone got stolen and I lost their phone numbers, mine stayed the same, but we just never talked again. When my Apple account got compromised, and I lost my backup, when I changed phones I lost all of my numbers. I haven't gotten a text or call from any of my friends since. That was 5 years ago. I quit going on FB months ago. Only one person reached out to me, and asked if everything was okay, and how I was doing. That one person is a true friend. One friend stopped replying to my texts right after we graduated from college. Like the same week we graduated. So I was pretty much just a study buddy that they kept close to keep me helping them. Same thing happened to me. Was friends with so many people during college, and the last 3 weeks was an unpaid work placement which we had to go back to the school to hand in our paperwork. Not one of them spoke to me or would even answer me if I said something to them. Became clear that I was only valuable to them when I was helping them. Class awards had me down as most willing to help classmates. I wouldn't say I have fake friends, but I am definitely the periphery friend. The majority of the time, if there isn't enough tickets or space in the car for everyone to go do something, I'm the one who gets cut out. It doesn't bother me much, but I wish they would be more mindful when talking to me about things we have done. Remember when we went to see XXX? Wasn't that fun? Well, no, because I wasn't invited. In those situations it usually gets awkward, or they say, hey, we would have invited you if we had the tickets, space, etc. Finding out they have an inner circle group chat, but I'm the only one not in it. Same. I found out that they had 2 groups, one with me and one without. They never use the one with me though. For any given social group there will be roughly as many text groups as members of the group, each excluding one person. I was invited to the bachelorette party for one of the friends in this group. Well, at the party, I figured out that I was the only person not invited to the wedding. I had been invited to the party because they needed another person to chip in for expenses. What kind of human scum does that? Went to pick up my Xbox 360 a friend was borrowing, and our whole group of friends were there. They had spent the entire day playing games with snacks and pizza, and I had not been invited. And now I was in the situation of being the douche who takes the ball home and ruins the fun for everyone. I took my Xbox and never spoke to anyone in that group again. When I slowly realized I was only around for chores and errands. Rides to the airport, pick up furniture, help move. Anything social always resulted in either last-minute cancellations, showing up 45 minutes late and bolting after 10 minutes. I thought they were busy, but no. I feel this. I only recently realized how much I give in my friendships, i.e., offer to do things for people, which doesn't bother me at all but still, and how absolutely bare minimum I get back. Dude. The group of friends I gave up on would do this to this guy we know. They'd invite him to hang out only so he could drive us. One time they didn't let him into the club, so I decided to stay behind with him and watch movies at his house. He even had the decency to go back for my friends when the club closed. I'm no longer friends with him, but I am still friends with the guy, and he even helped me get together with my boyfriend. I don't give him enough props, lol. Honestly, I always love staying with the ones that are left behind. It's such injustice that people just leave others. Whenever we were supposed to hang out, something came up and that something was hanging out with other mutual friends. Yes, my best friend in high school used to do this to me all the time. On Wednesday, I'd ask if she wanted to see a movie Friday night. She'd always say maybe, if I can get out of doing whatever with my parents. Come Monday, I'd hear her talking about how great the movie was. Apparently, last minute her parents said she didn't have to go, and miraculously a group of people called right then and asked her to see the same movie. She'd always say, I figured you made other plans when I confronted her about it. In reality, she'd just wait to see what the better option was and pick on Friday. God, that pissed me off. When I was babysitting her kids, things were going great. We would hang out all the time, have movie nights, and just talk and chill. But the second she no longer needed a babysitter was the second I got kicked to the curb. No explanation. Not even a text back. Some people will act like your best friend until they no longer need you. They're lost though. Yep, this happened to me, but more generally. Had a friend who would only contact me when she needed something, but she was pretty sly about it in the beginning, inviting me over to hang, and then bringing up the favor organically, like, oh, we don't have anyone to watch the dog next weekend, or I want to move this bed, but it's so heavy, etc. After a while it got more egregious and obvious, only calling to ask to use my truck or dog sit. I'd politely say I wasn't available, and eventually she stopped calling. She still texts every now and then to catch up. She tried that a few times in the past, and it was always followed by a request, despite my no longer responding. To this day I cringe when someone says hi friend, her freaking catchphrase. After my divorce, we were couples friends, not individually. Same for me, my ex was crazy abusive, and I had proof, and most of our friends took the I'm not taking sides stance. Well, here's the surprise, not taking sides is siding with the abuser. Especially because when they say I'm not taking sides, what they mean is I don't care what your ex did, I'm staying friends with him. Truth. I was very close friend with this guy I met in high school, let's call him John. Then he started dating this girl, Carolyn. I never really became friends with her, but I liked her. We finished high school and lost touch a bit. They married and had a baby, but we still live close to each other, so we would go out eventually with some other friends. So as 2019 I got to know they're going for a divorce, and I didn't know the reason until other friend, that was closer to Carolyn, told me the reason. John was a very shitty abuser. It even got to the point that he pointed a gun to her, said she was a shitty mom, and cheated her multiple times with underage girls. John was never this type of guy when we were teenagers, but his father always acted like this, and I think he developed this behavior later. Anyway, I don't consider John my friend anymore, and he lost almost every friend he used to have. I had to take a side in this situation, and not only excuse him from being an asshole as most people do. This was quite a few years ago. My ex and I were really friendly with another couple. Did a ton of stuff together. Then they moved, not far, and fairly shortly after my ex and I separated. They hung out with me for a few months but then stopped calling. A few years later, I ran into both of them at a race, an ultramarathon, and they both pretended like they didn't know me. That was actually a really painful moment. When I was married, we were in a friend group with 3 other couples on our street. My ex cheated and we divorced. The group kept inviting both of us to the same events because they didn't want to pick sides. I moved out of the neighborhood and realized they were proximity friends, not real friends. That hurt. A lot. The group made plans to meet and hang out. I was getting ready in the salon. A couple of friends had to back out for some reason. The other friend then made excuses of his own, and I could tell. I tried cajoling him and offer ways for him to go, but he basically decided to cancel the entire group meetup. It was my birthday. Same thing happened to me on my 21st birthday. All my friends made up excuses why they couldn't come. Then the 3 friends that did met some guys and we went back to their house and awkwardly sat around. Happened again for my 25th birthday. I had moved across the country and found new friends, but they all bailed at the last minute. I called my roommate at the time who came out when he got off work, and he called some of his friends who came out, and I had the best night ever. Those guys are now my real friends, and I married that roommate. Once high school ended, I heard about all the rumors they made up about me. They told people that I was addicted to drugs. I was smoking pot, but nothing harder than that, but they were the reason I got drug tested at school. They said that I was a whore because my friend's boyfriend was my best friend, and she wanted me to stop hanging around him. And that I was fat pregnant. I literally weighed less than 115 pounds. High school sucks, just a bunch of children trying to be better than everyone else. When I realized I was the one always calling, then I stopped and friends disappeared. I only have one exception to this rule, as I know my friend is a reactive texter, and he's got a lot on his mind at all times, PTSD, anxiety, depression and such. I check in on him regularly, and I don't mind him being AWOL for a while. He's come through for me, and he's a good man. The rest can fuck off. When they stop contacting me when I stop drinking. I feel this. Used to have countless friends. Went out all the time. Lost control of myself and quit. Friends stopped calling. Now I'm a weird eccentric who hangs out in the woods in all my free time. Things are better this way. I have a couple friends who stuck around, and the girl of my dreams. That's all I need. I stopped smoking weed and they stopped coming round. This is a lesson that every smoker learns after a while. Some friends are only friends that you smoke with. A good rule of thumb is to do things together where you're not smoking. If that works, then you are probably real friends and not just together for smoking. I have a friend who I once did practically nothing sober with. We always drank and or smoked pot. He landed himself in some trouble with a Dewey and did an enormous life 180. He has been 100% sober off of everything for about 2 years now, and we're all extremely proud of what he's done in that time. Instead of smoking pot and drinking, we chose to do outdoor hobbies and work out instead. Our friendship survived the end of getting drunk high together, and it makes me super happy. When I went through a divorce and was down to $700 most difficult period and weeded out all those who friended me for my generosity because I was well settled. Started over and have like 2 true good friends. 2 real friends is better than 100 fake friends. Hope you're doing well. Quality over quantity.